Hello, everyone. We're going to have a nice, well-rounded Vinyasa practice today. And as usual, if you have blocks at home, I encourage you to grab those. In the absence of blocks, hardback books of the same size or even a little stool is welcome. And these things are not required. They're just kind of, I think they're nice to have. So we'll begin our practice today in downward facing dog. So I want you to take a minute actually with me on your hands and your knees, just looking at your hands. I think it's helpful to get your hands wide enough so that they support the width of your upper back. So maybe that's a little bit wider than you're used to. And then get a sense of how flat your hand is. So I really strongly press down through the inner hand, which is my index finger and my thumb knuckle mound. I press down and then I give a little grip to the mat with my fingertips, like I'm clawing a rock, like imagine like I'm an eagle. Got my little talons out. Okay, and from there, curl my toes under, lift my hips up and back, and relax my head here. So I'm really actively pressing the floor away with my flat palm and the grip of my fingertips. And so my shoulders are active, my arms are active. And then if you haven't already, you can start to bend the knees right and left, just kind of wake up the back body, say hello to the calves, the Achilles tendon, hamstrings, the glutes, the pelvis, and the whole length of the spine, including the back of the head. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. It can be a lot, so if you need to take a break at any point in time from down dog, child's pose is a great option, so is tabletop. Let's inhale, if you're still with me, and shift forward into high plank. And again, that high plank can be modified by just setting the knees down. And you can still think about shoulders over wrist and hugging the navel into the spine. You can still activate the core there with that. And then maybe if the knees came down, they lift back up, and you just take a moment to press the floor away, slide round through the upper back, reach long through the crown of the head, back through the heel bones. Take one more breath here. Let's put the knees back to the mat and come all the way down onto the belly. Tuck the chin and let your forehead rest. And we're going to take our hands all the way off the mat. So the hands are wide, wider than the chest. And you can either come up onto your fingertips or you can plant the hands. It kind of depends on your wrist and your shoulder compartment. We're going to press the floor away with our hands wide and inhale, lift up through the chest. So it's like a modified low cobra. You can come up as high as you want. There's no parameter here. Exhale, lower. Let your forehead rest. I'm going to do that about 3 more times. So you're pressing the floor away. Hands are still wide. Lifting the heart. And exhale, lower. Twice more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. One more time. Good, and then we'll stack those hands back underneath the shoulders, ribs, or rather elbows hug into the rib cage. Toes tuck under. You can either press up to high plank or tabletop. And then back up to downward facing dog. Now in our down dog, let's take our feet wide on our yoga mat. We're going to move forward into high plank and then back into a rotation. So stay with me here for a minute. Left hand's going to reach for the outer right leg. It could be the calf, it could be the ankle. And just kind of hold and kind of look underneath that right armpit. You're finding a little rotation. And then left hand plants forward, top of the mat, shift forward, high plank. Move the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Find that rotation, right hand reaching to outer left leg. Right hand forward, shift into high plank. Okay, side to side now. So left hand reaches for outer right leg. Little rotation. Shift forward, high plank. Both hands are there. Press back, down dog. Right hand reaches for outer left leg. Relax your head. Let's do it twice more each side. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. Exhale, down dog. Left hand, outer right leg. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. Exhale, push back, down dog. Right hand, outer left leg. Inhale, shift forward, high plank. Press back, down dog with your rotation, left hand. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, down dog, right hand. Okay, good. Shift forward, high plank. And then back, down dog. Now bring your feet to more of a hip width distance apart, neutral stance. Just start to walk your feet forward, walk your hands back. Wind up in a forward fold somewhere in the middle of your mat. Shift the weight forward, backward from the toes to the heels. Here's where blocks or a chair, stool, some sort of prop underneath the hands might come in handy, because if the floor feels really far away because your back body is tight, you might want to make your arms a little bit longer. You can always just bend the knees as you shift your weight forward and backward in the absence of props. And then see if you can find like the center of the foot, the inner and outer arch, the center of the foot, and relax the toes there. Move through a half sun salutation about 3 times. Inhale, fingertips to shins, lengthen the heart forward, find that halfway lift through the torso. Exhale, fold in. Little soft bend in those knees, uncurl the spine. Circle the arms out wide and reach up. Breathe in, arms overhead. Exhale, arms wide, little bend in the knees as you hinge forward back into your fold. Relax your head. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips to shins, navel hugs into the spine. Exhale, forward fold, relax your head. Soft bend in the knees, uncurl the spine. Sweep your arms out, reach up, breathe in. Exhale, soften into those knees, hinge forward from the hips. Relax your head. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Uncurl the spine, come to standing, arms reach up. Exhale, fold in. Now from this forward fold, we're going to walk our hands forward, walk our feet back until you wind up in that down dog. So find that down dog that works for your body. You feel the integrity of your hands, the integrity of your shoulders, the lengthening of the back of the legs. Inhale, stretch your right leg up and back. And bend your right knee, start to open that right hip towards the ceiling, right knee towards the ceiling. And just pause here for a moment and see if now, with this rotation, this open rotation of the hips, can you square the chest back towards the mat? Equally press down through both hands. Re-extend the right leg, shift forward, hug that right knee into the chest, and then work that right foot up between the hands. And again, maybe you frame out the foot with some props. Wiggle those right toes forward a little bit, wiggle those left toes back so you have more space in between the front foot and the back foot. We're going to move through cat and cow lunge. So we'll inhale, we'll shift forward onto the ball mound or the tippy toes of that left foot and see if you can lift your heart a little bit. I like to come up onto my fingertips so that I feel like I'm nice and long through the arms, but also through the neck and the shoulders. And then as you exhale, we're moving back to 2 straight legs. So right leg lengthens out, dome the upper back, round the chin in, forehead towards that front shin. I'm keeping my left heel lifted as I do this. So my hips remain pointing forward. Let's do that with our breath. So we'll inhale, we'll shift forward, lift the chest, and that little baby back bend. Exhale, move the hips up and back, straighten out through the legs, round the spine. Inhale, shift forward, lift the chest, bend that right knee. Exhale, hips up and back, straighten out through the right leg. Inhale, forward. Exhale, up and back. Okay, now this time, as you inhale and come forward, bending into that right knee, set your left knee down to the mat. And then take your left hand, and if you're using a prop like a block, set it onto its lowest setting and flatten that palm out. And then just take your right hand to the back of the pelvis. So you're turning your torso towards your inner right thigh, looking over maybe your right shoulder, and breathing in, breathing out. Good. Now we're going to release that right hand forward, so you're framing out that right foot. You're going to start to walk that right foot off towards the left. You're going to set up for an active half pigeon. So right foot walks to the left. I'm going to roll to the outer edge of my right leg, setting up for half pigeon. Now listen, I'm going to curl my left toes under, lift the left knee, and scooch that left leg back so my pelvis moves back. I'm going to stay upright in the chest here. I'm going to stay up on my fingertips. I'm just going to wiggle the weight side to side. So active half pigeon. There's not a whole lot of weight in my front leg. I'm distributing the weight around my body, which includes my hands, it includes my pelvis, it includes my back leg. All right, so we're going to get out of this. I like to do that by curling my back toes under, lifting that back knee, and then sending the right foot back to downward facing dog. Pause here, breathe in, breathe out. And now let's shift forward to high plank. Exhale, lower to the belly. Take those hands wide off of the mat. Either come to your fingertips or hands flat, your choice. Inhale, lift up through the chest. And if you like, you could straighten out through the arms, maybe move more towards like a seal pose. So kind of like upward facing dog, but a little bit different because the hands are wide. And then exhale, lower, release out of that. Hands walk back underneath the shoulders. Press back to either child's pose or down dog. We're going to take 3 breaths here in between sides. 3 breath cycles. All right, so if you're in child's pose, downward facing dog is your next shape. If you're coming along for the second side, get a sense of the palms being flat, a little claw into the fingertips, arms are strong, head is relaxed. Inhale, left leg stretches up and back, and then you're going to bend that left knee pointed towards the ceiling, kind of trying to open that left hip. And then see if you can, while you're rotating the hip open, square the chest forward, equal pressure into both hands. Inhale, re-extend that left leg long. And then exhale, shift forward, hug the left knee into the chest, work the foot between the hands. We're going to leave that back knee lifted. Come up onto either props or your fingertips so that your chest is nice and long and lifted. Wiggle those left toes forward, wiggle that right foot back. So there's more space in between front foot and back foot. Shift the weight forward, backward a few times. Pause as you shift forward, kind of like rolling onto the tippy toes of that right foot. Lift the chest, breathe in. And then as you breathe out, hips rise up and back, left leg lengthens, and the upper back domes and the chin rounds forward. Let's move between these 2 shapes with our breath. We'll inhale to shift forward, bend that left knee, lift the chest. Exhale, hips up and back, lengthen out through that left leg, upper back rounds. And continue moving with your breath, inhaling forward, exhaling back. Twice more on this side. And the next time you inhale and come forward, we're going to pause here, lower that right knee all the way to the mat. If you're up on a prop, like a block, set it down to its lowest setting, and then see if you can get your right hand flat on top of that prop. We'll take our left hand to the low back, and we'll see if we can turn the torso, the chest, maybe even the gaze towards that left hip. You might even look over your left shoulder if that feels good on the neck. So try not to sink into the right shoulder, but rather press the floor away with the right hand and get really nice and long through the neck and the torso. One more breath here. Let's unwind the torso so you're facing forward. Frame out that foot and move the props out of the way if you have them. Let's heel toe this left foot across the mat towards the right side of the mat. We're setting up for that active half pigeon. So left foot all the way towards the right side of the mat, and then lay the outer left leg down. Curl the right toes under, wiggle that right foot back. So the pelvis actually moves back. You're staying lifted in your chest, you're staying upright, straighten out through the arms. You can come up on the fingertips even. You can also plant the hands, it doesn't really matter, it's kind of a personal preference. But I want you to think about distributing the weight evenly throughout the body in this half pigeon, rather than coming forward and finding stillness. You can find a little bit of movement, kind of rocking the hips side to side. And when I say side to side, I mean right to left. So I'm just kind of rolling my weight towards the left hip and then towards that front right hip flexor. Oh, all right. So to back out of this, I like to curl my right toes under, lift my right knee, get the weight off of that left knee, enough to send that left foot back to downward facing dog. And just take a moment, pause in your down dog. From down dog, we'll shift forward, find that high plank. Last time here, exhale, lower to the belly. Hands off of the mat wide. Press down. Maybe you lift up towards seal pose, arms towards straight, or keep a bend in the chest lower if that feels best on the low back. Just listen to your body. And then as you exhale, lower, release the forehead to the mat. We're going to make a cactus shape with the arms. So the inner elbows and the palms of the hands move towards flat. Elbows in line with the shoulders, if not slightly above the shoulders. You've come into this chalkboard-like shape with the body facing down on the mat. And we're going to roll side to side from here. So left hand starts underneath the left chest. Bend the left knee. Look left with your gaze. Press down into that left side. Roll towards your right shoulder, right hip. And I'm just reaching back through my left toes to kind of dangling space behind me. Roll back onto the belly. If this is confusing, you can watch the first time. So you're switching sides with the hands. That left hand's in a half cactus, right hand underneath the right chest. Bend the right knee, look right with the gaze. Press into your hand to roll towards that left side hip and shoulder. Roll back onto your belly, release. Switch sides again. Right elbow wide, palm faces down, look left. Bend the left knee, roll to your right shoulder, right hip. Back to the belly, switch sides. You're looking at your right fingertips as you press down into the right hand and you're rolling onto your left hip, left shoulder. Okay, one more time on your own each side. And just mindfully moving side to side. Use that breath here. Next time you come back to the belly, stack your hands right underneath your forehead, tuck your chin in and let your forehead rest on the backs of the hands. Breathe in, breathe out. 2 more breaths here. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, press up to hands and knees. We're just simply transitioning to our back. And to finish up our practice, as you come down onto your back, you can hug your knees into your chest, cup your hands on top of your knees and start to draw some circles on the ceiling. And not literally, of course, but we're just imagining that we're drawing the circle on the ceiling with our knees. And then pause. Arms can go towards the straight position and then start to circle out in the opposite direction. Now see if you can make yourself into a little ball. So hug those knees in tight, tight, tight towards the chest. Wrap your arms all the way around the shins. Maybe even grab your opposite wrist, opposite forearms, or your opposite elbows. See how much of the back body you can get on the mat. So even as you press down through the low back, and you press down through the back of the tailbone, through the back of the pelvis, shoulder blades, back of the head, everything's pressing down. You're compressing the anterior body and flattening out through the back body. Anterior it means front, posterior, back. Let's open this up into happy baby. So you can lift the head and the shoulders, reach for the inner or outer edges of the feet or backs of the legs. Open your knees wide towards the armpit. And then again, see if you can go about getting not only your low back pressing down, but also the back of your pelvis and your tailbone. And then reach your shoulders back to the mat, back of the head into the mat. You find that position in your spine in happy baby. If it makes sense, you can add movement here. You could stretch out through the legs one at a time. You can rock side to side. And then we'll release out of that, hug those knees back into the chest. And then keeping the knees bent, spread your arms out wide. Kick your heels up towards the ceiling, lengthen out through the backs of the legs. Flex the toes towards the face. Press down through the low back and the tailbone, the back of the pelvis, just like we've been practicing. See if you can keep all of that in place, and then start to send your feet off towards your left. Outer left leg relaxes, right leg stacks on top. You're coming into this rotational twist, maybe with the legs stretched out. Now, if that doesn't work for you, bend the knees. Absolutely bend the knees. There's a lot of space in between the knees. Slide a prop between the knees. We're going to settle in here for a bit of a hold, about a minute. And just find your breath, maybe close the eyes. Okay, so listen, as we reverse out of this, I'd like you to see if you can stretch through that right leg, through the right heel bone. Let that guide your way back up towards the ceiling. Let the left leg follow. And then take a moment to pause here on your back. Get this sense of neutrality. Low back pressing down, back of the pelvis pressing down, tailbone flat on the mat. Chest is open, shoulder blades are relaxed, arms are wide. Right leg is going to lead the way to the right side. The outer right leg relaxes all the way down and left leg follows, stacking on top. The knees bend as needed. Props come in between the knees as needed. Deep belly breaths here. About 3 more slow breaths. All right, we're going to use that left leg. See if you can straighten it out a little bit. Press through that left heel. Guide that left leg up towards the ceiling. Let the right leg follow. And then can you work the spine towards a neutral position? The low back flat into the mat, pelvis and tailbone as well. And then maybe reach up with your hands. See if you can hook your big toes, and you can bend your knees as much as you need to grab your big toes with your peace fingers. And then with shoulders plugged into the mat, back of the head heavy, can you press your heel bones up towards the ceiling, lengthen out just a little bit through the backs of the legs. 3 breaths here. And then we're going to slowly release into Savasana. So release your hold on your feet, slowly lower the legs, slowly lower the arms. All of the limbs melt into the floor. Shoulder blades shrug down your back, chin slightly tilting towards the chest. Deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. Settle in stillness. 1 minute of silence in your Savasana. Start to add some movement to your body. Come back. Maybe you move your head side to side a few times. Bending your knees, you can spend a few moments in fetal position if that feels good to you. Briefly pressing to an upright seat. I'll just take a moment to close out our practice. If it calls to you, you can place your hands flat against the heart, stacking one hand on top of the other, bowing the chin into the chest, taking a moment of reverence and gratitude for your effort. May you use the fruits of this practice to serve your highest good. Remember to share it with those around you that you love and who could use healing. Together we send love and healing to all sentient beings around the world that may be suffering. May they be happy. May they be free. Namaste, yogis. Okay, everyone. Thanks for being with me today. I hope you enjoyed. Take care of yourselves and come back again soon.